Listeners, NerdWallet wants you to let them do the work for you. Looking for auto insurance? The Nerds will match you with top providers in your area in just a few questions. So getting the right rate for you is as simple as going to nerdwallet.com. After all, letting NerdWallet do the work is more than smart. It's genius. Not all applicants will qualify for the lowest monthly payments. NerdWallet Insurance Services Incorporated. California resident license number OK92033. The Rachel Hollis Podcast is proudly sponsored by Amica Insurance. As Amica says, empathy is our best policy. That's why they'll go above and beyond to tailor your insurance coverage to best fit your needs. Whether you're on the road, at home, or traveling along life's journey, their friendly and knowledgeable representatives will work with you to ensure that you have the right coverage in place. Amica will provide you with peace of mind. Go to amica.com to get a quote today.
Started to walk away and I grabbed his hand and said this thing, and I just feel the instinct to say, in case someone in this room needs to hear it. Change your life. Don't end your life. Like, everything in me said that this kid was a very different person than his community, but he did not have the courage to admit that. And I was like, don't end it. Just change it. And it was like I socked him in his stomach. He was like, Thank you, I will. I swear to you, I will. I swear. Just in case someone else needs to hear that today.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and in this show, we talk about everything. Life and work, health and healing, relationships with others and with ourselves. These are stories for the seekers. These are conversations for the curious. This is the Rachel Hollis Podcast.
Knowing the right choice to make in your life. Completely, like, what is the next right step for me in any area of your life is as simple and as difficult as understanding where you are trying to get to. If you don't know the next right decision to make, it's because you don't know where you're headed. If you have crystal clear clarity on where you are trying to get this year in your health, with your faith, in your relationships, in your marriage, in your business, in your career, if you're like, I know for sure this is what I'm doing, that focus becomes your filter. That clarity removes everything else that is not this one thing. So, for example, if I know that I want to change my health this year, well, that would eliminate a lot of choices that I currently make. It was my son's birthday this week. Did I stand at my kitchen counter and just slowly clear away lines of the red velvet cake with cream cheese icing? I was just trying to even it out, you guys. You know, did I stand at the counter and do that last night? I was like, yeah, that's delicious. But if my goal was like, I'm going to live in perfect health, that immediately gets eliminated. If you don't know the one decision, ask yourself, what is the focus? Do you? Be real with me. Raise your hand. Do you're like, I freaking know where I'm going. Like, I know the 2025 goals. I know what I'm trying to do. Will you raise your hand if you know what that is? Cool. For those of you that feel like, you're like, no idea. Will you shout out at me? Like, why does it feel like something that is it something, raise your hand if you literally never thought in terms of starting where you want to end up and focusing on the end goal. Is that new information to anybody? Okay, no. So what is it that you don't know the next right move? Why do you think that is? Can you shout it out? There's too many options. Okay. It's overwhelming, which is sort of the same vibe. Okay. Fear of failing. Okay. What was it? You've already failed. Let me speak to those two things, and then I'm going to speak to these two things. Fear of failure. Guys, we have got to get over this. You have a twisted perception of what it looks like to move forward in life and to evolve and to succeed. You are never going to succeed without 100 failures along the way. Failure is a part of the process. You have convinced yourself that you can get where you want to go without messing up. And you think, if I just stand here in indecision and try and analyze this and try and figure this out, that then I'll be able to do the exact right thing that will keep me safe and I won't mess up in front of anybody else. Yeah? It's not possible. You can either have an evolution or you can stay here and stay safe, but you cannot have both. Failure is a part of this. And if you flip it and you're like, okay, girl who just came from working at Target told me that it's going to take 100 failures to get to my dream. So let's start. Let's see how many failures I can rack up this week. Let's see how many people I can call and pitch on my new job and get rejected. Let's see how many people I can try and convince that my services are amazing and have them tell me no. Let's get closer to the number of rejections we need to get a positive response. Like, desensitize yourself to the failure, because failure is a part of it. So don't fall for this myth, because it's perfectionism and it's you keeping yourself stuck. It's never getting you anywhere. I guarantee that everyone who is sitting in indecision because they are afraid of failure is not actually, are you making great progress? No. Do you get frustrated that you're like, I'm still freaking here, still having this conversation with the voice in the back of my mind? I think we all have our version of that. At some point, you got to tell the voice in the back of your head to suck it, because you got things to do and people to see. And like, okay, agree with it. Be like, you're right, I do suck. I'm too old. Yep, I'm not smart enough. Thank you. And I've got places to go. You have to desensitize yourself to this voice, because it's gotten so strong that it's become your voice. And it's not. It's not who you are authentically. Your authentic self believes in you wholeheartedly. That is something divine. Believes that you are great and wonderful and worthy and capable of this potential that you have. So don't let that voice win. So if you don't know the decision to make, it's because you don't know what finish line you're trying to cross. Some of you who feel like you've got a million options, it's because you got a million finish lines. Wouldn't it be great to write a book? Wouldn't it be great to have a podcast? Wouldn't it be great to lead a team? Wouldn't it be great to get promoted? Wouldn't it be great to have 17 babies and move to a farm and live organically off the grid? She said, yes. And now with Jack for a minute. Bill's telling you all about how to homestead. We have all these ideas of what would be really nice. And then we lead ourselves so astray because we're like, oh my gosh, I didn't succeed at being CEO and homesteading simultaneously. Girl, those have nothing to do with each other. Pick a lane. And here's the beauty. When you cross the finish line of the lane that you're in, you can start a new race. But let's get across the finish line of this one, because when you do, you will prove to yourself that you can. It's incredibly powerful. Okay, if you hear this idea and you're like, yeah, one decision, I hope that you think on that, what the one decision would be. Two things pop up in these groups. One, we got the girls and the boys, I guess, but let's just say the girlies who are analysis paralysis. They're like, let me analyze this from every single angle and do my research and talk to 15 people. And 18 months from now, you're still going to be in the same place. If that is you, I'm going to tell you how to break this cycle, and you're not going to believe it's this easy, but I swear to you that it is. Do anything. Do anything. Stop staying here at the crossroads. Take a step in literally any direction. You're not going to make a bad choice. You know why you're not going to make a bad choice? Because there is no such thing as failing. There is only learning on the path to who you want to be. And you're never going to know how to do better if you don't actually do something. So do something, do anything. And dude, if you get it wrong, if it was the worst decision you've ever made, you will figure it out. You will solve for where you are right now. You will take steps to heal. You will figure it out. And the reason I know that is true is because you were sitting here or standing here in this room with us. If you didn't know how to figure out your life when you make mistakes, you wouldn't be here. Stop believing this myth that you are weak and incapable. You are. And there are really kids here, or I would say the wrong word. You are. You literally would not be here if you were not strong and capable. So stop staying stuck and telling yourself, oh, in a couple more months, when the kids are older, when I have more information, then I can jump. Just admit the truth. You're scared. It's okay to be scared, man. I was so scared to release this book. This is my 9th published book, and I was terrified to release it. Thank you. because I hadn't released a book in 5 years. And I was like, will people even show up? Do they care? Do I have anything interesting to say? Like, have I told all the stories already? I was so scared. And in the months leading up to this, I kept thinking, like, we would have conversations with the publisher, we talk about different things, and I kept getting really angry, not at them, just like I'd hang up the phone and be like, ah. And I was like, well, I'm not an angry person. I'm getting so angry. And then I heard someone say, all anger is just fear that you're not wanting to admit to yourself. And I was like, I'm afraid. I cannot believe I'm afraid, but I am. And I'm using anger because that feels like a more empowering emotion. So I just started saying this to myself, feel free to steal it. I am afraid, and I'm gonna do it anyway. I am afraid, and I'm gonna do it anyway. Last thing I'm gonna say, and this is a chapter in the book, so you can take a deep dive. You have to draw a line in the sand. You have to draw a line in the sand and refuse to go backwards. The quality of the life that you have is not based on how many options you have, how broad the sky, how big the ceiling. The quality of your life is based on the standards that you set for yourself. So you do not need to raise the ceiling, you need to raise your floor. You need to change your standards, you need to change your elevation, do it in one small, tiny way. An inch higher up than you currently are is an inch closer to heaven, you know? Whatever you gotta do, draw a line in the sand and say, never again. I will never again do this thing. I will never again speak that way to myself. I will never again speak that way to myself without at least catching it and redirecting. Find something that you can stick with, but understand you don't need more options. You don't need more podcasts. You don't need more YouTube videos. You don't need to read another book. You need to believe in yourself and do the stuff you know you should be doing. Let's go. And now we're going to Q&A. So is there a mic for you guys, or maybe you just shout it? I actually don't know. Raise your hand if you have a question about business or life or relationships or mindset or whatever. And you got to project, because right here, sister, you. She said, who?
So a little backstory to my question. I work full-time and part-time, and I go to school full-time, and I have 3 kids under 7. And I have a really hard time just being present in the moment with my kids.
Yeah, you do.
I have so much like swirling in my brain all the time that just being there in the moment is so hard for me. And I just need some advice of how to like center my moments with them more purposefully.
Yeah, so you said you have 3 kids under 7 and like 18 jobs, it sounds like, and you go to school. Okay, so no joke. So the first thing I'm going to tell you, what's your name? Taylor, is to give yourself some grace. Start there. And I can see you're very emotional, which says to me that you're very hard on yourself about this topic. So I can tell you, because I just had an 18-year-old happen in my life. So I've made it 18 years now. He doesn't seem like he's going to go to prison, at least not yet. So a few things. When you have 3 kids under 7, you think it is always going to be this hard. And I swear to you, it gets easier. I swear, you are so deeply in the weeds, and that is compounded by the fact that you have all of these other responsibilities in your life. So be graceful with yourself that you are not going to nail this every day. None of us nail it every day, ever, ever, ever. So that's number 1. Thank you for passing tissues around, friends. Number 2 is focus on the quality of the time, not the quantity of the time. Because that's another piece, especially for working parents, where like I should get up and do devotionals with them at 4:30 a.m. and then make them an organic breakfast and then be with them in the afternoon. And then we should like create that tent from the holiday and then we like lay under it. Cameron Diaz comes over. It's amazing. We make up these stories. It's just absolutely not true. So focus on the quality of time, and quality time could be literally 20 minutes. It could be, I'm going to completely put any technology away so I cannot be distracted from this moment. Do exactly what I told you at the beginning, like literally wiggle your feet, do some deep breathing, sit down and do something with them. My favorite thing to ask is, what is it that makes, how, you have a 7-year-old, so that's probably the oldest one. Tell me the ages.
So my oldest just turned 8.
Okay.
My next one's 6 and then 3.
Okay, so they are little ones, but at least the 8-year-old and maybe the 6-year-old will be able to tell you this. So I asked my kids a few years ago, what is the thing that we do together that makes you feel the most loved? And they all had a very different answer. and I do that thing. Because I have this story in my head of what they all wanted. Like, I have this idea in my head that they all wanted me to be room mom. Oh, nightmare. Oh, awful. If you are a room mom, we're so grateful for you. Thank you for your service. Or a room dad. But no, I just cannot. I mean, I can barely deal with my own kids. I definitely can't deal with yours too. But I had this idea of all these things that they wanted, and I wasn't actually checking in with them on what made the most sense to them. So my son Sawyer was like, oh, I really like it when we go get lunch together. He really loves Subway at the time. So he was like, I love when we go to Subway. And I was like, okay. And then the oldest liked watching movies, and my daughter always wants to play games or play Barbies or like do anything girly. Those are really simple choices that make them feel very seen. And in that moment, they know that I'm intentionally doing something with them that maybe isn't my favorite, but I'm doing it because, hey, this is our time together and really focus. The other way to flip this is, please, all of you who are parents, find activities with your kids that you both like. Because it is, I don't know about you, I'm just gonna be super real. Sometimes you're like playing Barbies for 20 and you're like want to stab yourself in the eye with the Barbie. It's so boring, sorry. The little kids over there are like, what? But if you can find things that you both really enjoy, then you'll do it way longer, you'll both enjoy it way more. My daughter loves to get her nails done, and guess who also loves to get her nails done? I recently discovered this. I would be like, Noah, do you want to go get mani-pedis? And she'd be like, yes. And I was like, ding, ding, like I found a new thing. My son Ford loves to watch nature documentaries. Also, I like to watch nature documentaries. Right now, we're working our way through Asia. There's some great things happening there. But yeah, find things that you both have in common. And I hope that you can feel the levity that I'm bringing to this conversation for you. You don't need to be this hard on yourself. It's not actually making you a better mama. Your guilt is not serving you, and it's not serving your babies. I am positive that every decision you are making right now in your life is because you're trying to make a better life for these babies. And this is the season right now, you're going to have to be a bit more focused on the stuff that you're doing to create the world that you're trying to create for them. And your kids, God willing, are only ever going to know you as a mama. So they don't know another way to be. The only way that they're going to feel that this season is wrong is if they can feel that guilt permeating off of you. So just focus on tiny little wins that you can get, small moments of quality time. Make sure there's no technology around. If it's helpful for you, schedule it. So like, hey, every day at 5 o'clock, don't tell them. Because once kids find that out, they're like, it's 5:02. I'm so tired. So schedule in your own mind, hey, this is the time that I'm going to do this thing, and we're going to hang out. And just the rhythm of that and you being more intentional and not putting so much pressure on yourself is going to make it feel better, which is going to make it all feel better. Yeah, of course.
The phenomenon is back. The new season of Yellow Jackets is now on Paramount Plus with Showtime.
Think about how screwed up we would be if we had survived a plane crash only to end up eating each other.
This place will follow us for the rest of our lives.
The only way to truly be safe is to be the only one left.
This season, the past will come back to hunt you.
You really are insane.
Yellow Jackets, new season now streaming on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
Coming into the new year, it was time for a big reset for our family. We had so much fun over the holidays, and we indulged in sugar and all the stuff we normally wouldn't have, which is why I love coming back into a routine with Thrive Market. Thrive Market lets you easily find trusted, family-friendly brands and shop based on your needs. So things like low sugar or gluten-free, organic or high protein, you can filter them without the hassle of grocery store trips. Plus, with the Healthy Swap scanner in the app, you can scan a product you already buy and get instant recommendations for cleaner, healthier alternatives. Ready for a junk-free start to 2025? Head to thrivemarket.com/rach and you'll get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/rach. thrivemarket.com/rach.
Next question. Yes, ma'am?
I'm from a small town, grew up in a small town. I'm not small town, and like your outfit, I would love your outfit, but I could only go to Target.
Yeah.
Like, right?
That's what online shopping is for.
Well, no, I mean, like, where am I going to wear your outfit to? Target. That's like, do you know what I mean?
Oh, girl, you better put on an outfit and go to Target. Sorry, I'm interrupting
That's
you.
my point, is constantly anything, because I have a big personality, I have a big voice, I'm weird, I'm, whatever. But I'm in my head, it's always, who the do you think you are?
Whoever you want to be.
Well, that's so easy, except for that voice in my head. It just feels so much harder coming from a small town, and my friends are small town, and they're great, but I always feel weird and too much. And when I am me, it's lonely.
Yeah. That's so real. So many things just flew in my head. What's your name? Candace, nice to meet you. Okay, so a few thoughts for you. Number one, are you consuming media of the type of women that you wish lived in your town?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you see them out there, you know that they exist, like at least you're getting fed. Are you going to, besides this moment, are you going to any experiences where you get to interact with people that feel a bit more like who you wish you could be all the time?
I wish no.
Okay.
Because I don't have any, like, this was big to come by myself.
Yeah, good for you.
So, I live in Paso Robles.
I love Paso.
We're
Fabulous.
small.
Look. I'm in San Luis Obispo. Yes. See, look, her too. Like everyone who's in flow, let's all meet up for wine. Huge deal that you came, and good for you. And maybe this is your one decision. Maybe you made this choice today and you get to meet these girls, and when they actually reach out, you're like, you know what? I am going to go to San Luis Obispo, and I am going to have wine with these girls I met one time and I hope aren't axe murderers. Just so that I can feel like I can be a bit more myself. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is, for anybody who has the voice in the back of your head, all of us have a voice in the back of our head. Not all of us are aware that it's there. Some of us think that that is actually our mind and not the vicious self-talk. But if you are aware that the self-talk is there, do you talk back to it?
I do. Sometimes she gets really annoying, and she's got a pretty strong personality.
Right. But you said you are loud and weird and you are stronger than she is. It's not sometimes. It is every single time. You got two choices. You can clap back at her and be like, not today. Or you can just agree with her. You're totally right. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you for that idea. Maybe people at Target will think I'm weird. Thank you for the reminder, and do it anyway. Because it's super annoying that our subconscious works this way, but it actually is just trying to keep you safe. At some point in your life, you learn to believe that if you were a smaller version of yourself, if you weren't so weird, if you were more like all the other girls, that you would be more loved, that you would be more accepted, that it would be easier for you to get along. That's when that voice was formed. And maybe that voice is like your mama, your aunties, your daddy, someone along the way who helped to feed into this idea for you. So you can either agree with it or you can clap back at it, but you can't just let it keep talking. Because you need to remind yourself, like your true and authentic self, that you are not going to live your life this way. Believing that if you go to Target in your small town dressed in a fabulous outfit, people are going to look at you funny. They're going to look at you because they're jealous. Because they wish that they had the courage to wear a caftan or a tuxedo to aisle 7, you know? Like, life is so freaking short to not take the opportunity to like make yourself feel beautiful in a fun outfit. Like, we have so little like opportunity for healthy pleasure in our life. There's lots of things we can do that are unhealthy. If like putting on a red sweater vest is gonna make you feel good, like, girl, do it. It's too short. Oh my gosh. I also think like we have a lot of stories we tell ourselves that we just make up in our own mind. You have made up in your mind that you would be judged for looking a certain way. And the way that you break free of that is you just do it one day. And maybe it feels scary. And maybe people do look at you, because if you're putting off the energy of like, oh my God, Ethan oh my God, look at me. Versus like, every woman in this room, for real, even if you're not into dressing up or putting on like a whole outfit, when you see another woman in a whole outfit, are you always like, yeah, girl? Look, you can't see them. Every woman in this room is nodding. Because the right kind of people, your people, are going to love that you did that. And if there are people who are judgmental, they were never meant to be your friends anyway. So you're just filtering out the bad news. You got to lean more into who you are, unapologetically, to find the other women or men who are also doing the same. But right now, my instinct is that you're hiding out a little bit. Yeah, you're hiding out. And so it's like those people who are like, when is my Prince Charming coming? Where is he? And then you're like, oh, have you gone out? Have you seen him? You do anything? No, I work from home, but I've made some great manifestation posts about him. Sister, like you gotta take the step and see that you don't die and keep taking steps in that direction.
Well, I've taken the steps. I've had 2 Prince Charmings. They're now ex-husbands. So I think it's this is safe right now, because that was big and that was painful and it was hard. This is hard too, but I know this hard.
Yeah.
This is a comfortable hard that kind of just doesn't look like, nobody realizes it's hard. Yeah.
So doing this feels safe.
Scary.
Yeah, the next thing is scary.
Like when people were saying scared of failure, I'm scared of success.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Anyone else have a fear of success? Yeah, this is the thing, is like what happens if I actually push through and I start to see these results? What's the opposite? Meaning, I'm just gonna like get super real with you right now and hopefully not scare some kids. I like to play the opposite. You're 90 years old. You're on your deathbed. You played it safe. You wore sweater vests your entire life. Not the cool kinds. Not the cool kinds, the ugly kinds. You wore outfits you didn't want to wear. You pretended to be a person that you're not. And everyone in your town really respected you and no one knew you at all. That's way worse. That's way worse. Tomorrow is not a guarantee. You do not know how long you have on this journey. And to waste 1 second of it pretending to be someone you're not is just the worst. Yeah. So use that if you need to. Use that moment and go, you know what? Me at 90 years old. People ask me this all the time. They're like, who's your hero? And I'm like, me at 90. I want to meet her and be so proud of who she is, because every single day I'm taking steps as the woman I am today to get closer to that freak show. She's going to be fabulous. And with every passing decade, I like to believe that we just stop caring. We stop caring about the opinions of other people. We stop buying into like middle girl syndrome. We stop thinking, we're just like, I'm going to find my people. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to live well. I'm going to act with kindness. I'm going to walk in faith. The rest will take care of itself. You know what you need to do. This was a huge first step, though. Good job, Camden. Yes, ma'am.
The phenomenon is back. The new season of Yellow Jackets is now on Paramount Plus with Showtime.
Think about how screwed up we would be if we had survived a plane crash only to end up eating each other.
This place will follow us for the rest of our lives.
The only way to truly be safe is to be the only one left.
This season, the past will come back to hunt you.
You really are insane.
Yellow Jackets, new season now streaming on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
Celebrate your love story with a Valentine's Day surprise from Pandora Jewelry. I love having jewelry that helps me commemorate special times in my life. I have at least 5 bracelets on at all times that represent gifts from my kids or from my husband. And this Valentine's Day, let your heart guide you to the perfect gift. With Pandora, you can choose styles full of sparkle, heartwarming symbols, or different choices that help you capture every moment of your life together. Make the feeling last and make it personalized with an engraving or engravable jewelry. You can even use your own handwriting, guys. On Valentine's Day and every day, be love. Shop Pandora Jewelry today in store or online at pandora.net.
Oh my God, Rachel.
Hello.
Hello. I just want to say yes to everything you just said.
Oh, the affirmation.
This is a dream come true.
Oh, cool.
2018, so I had been a nurse for over 10 years. I had reached the highest mountain and I was living life. I had everything. Everything was so perfect. And then I fell into depression. And I'm standing, I'm like, I have everything. What is wrong with me? And I kept on asking people. And everybody's like, giving you the guilt trip. We have everything. I realized I wasn't reaching to my full potential. So I was living my life, yet not who I was born to be. So in 2018, I went to my first conference and I saw Mel Robbins.
Yes.
Keynote, and I'm like, oh, I went from like 3 years of being depressed to want to commit suicide. I'm embarrassed to say, but I had a plan as a nurse. I knew exactly what freeway to take, and it was going to look like an accident. Yet going into the conference and seeing Mel Robbins, and I'm like, what is this? And of course, you were there as well. And everybody kept on talking about, like, did you see Rachel Hollis? And I'm like, who is this girl? And I kept on getting all these DMs about you. And that's when I found out about your book. So went home, Google you, read your book, watch all your podcasts. The best one, John C. Maxwell, who I love, and I just met. Mel Robbins. And then from there, I went on just believing in myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did I go from feeling dead to I feel alive? And personal growth that I've been working on since 2018 to right now, I went from being a nurse, working 2 jobs hard, to like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna become the best version of me.
Yeah.
To now, I have like 3 businesses.
Good.
And I can't wait to retire.
Yeah.
And to see myself, it does. Personal growth really works because you really work from the inside out. And you take, like, all I had to do is just take 1 step at a time. That's it.
Yeah.
And you start building those courage moments. And you do, like you said, where do you see yourself when you're in that deathbed?
Yeah.
And as a nurse, I've seen a lot of people. And it is that not taking that step and do literally what you were born to do.
Yeah.
That now, as I live life, I'm like, this is so comfortable. But it's those fears.
Yeah.
And just have faith over your fears.
Yeah.
So thank you so
Thank you for that.
much.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you.
Because if it wasn't for Mel Robbins and you, God knows where I would be.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. You probably would be surprised how many people come to these events and tell me that they were in that exact spot. They'll come, to the table, they'll whisper it in my ear, they'll slip me a Post-it note. I had this really unique experience in New York. So it was my first signing of this book tour. And there was a young man in the audience who was very out of place. Usually if there are men, they're here with their wife or their girlfriend, and he wasn't here with anybody. And just based on his appearance, I was like, why is this kid sitting here? He's like in his early 20s. Why is he sitting here? He came through the line, which was the first moment that I realized, he's really not with anybody. He's here by himself. And I'm thinking, what is this? What? And he was so earnest. I will never, ever, ever forget him, his name, his face, any of it. But he told me a very similar story, that he had fought depression for several years and had randomly found my books, and that he could not be further outside of my demographic. But he randomly found my books, and they had been so helpful. And he's telling me this, and I'm just like flabbergasted, because I can't process that this 22-year-old boy is telling me this about girl wash your face. And I could tell based on how he looked that he was very different to his community. I could sense it on the deepest level that he was very, very different to the rest of his community, and he felt very uncomfortable. And everything in me said that the reason he's dealing with so much depression is because of that thing. He was just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he got me a birthday gift. It was my birthday that week, just the sweetest kid ever. And he was like, I'm still working on it every day. He wasn't out of depression. I'm still working on it every day. I'm so grateful for you. And started to walk away, and I grabbed his hand and said this thing. I just feel the instinct to say, okay, someone in this room needs to hear it. Change your life. Don't end your life. Everything in me said that this kid was a very different person than his community, but he did not have the courage to admit that. And I was like, don't end it, just change it. And it was like I socked him in the stomach. He was like, thank you, I will. I swear to you, I will. I swear, I swear. Just in case someone else needs to hear that today. Don't end it, change it. Wouldn't it be better? Maybe it wouldn't. Everyone has their own journey, but wouldn't it be better to break everything that is in pursuit of who your gut tells you you actually are than to end it so as to not offend your mother-in-law? Like what? The place that we get into, it makes no sense. But that voice has been speaking to us in such insidious ways for so long that we don't realize that there's an alternative path. And there is an alternative path. And it looks like you just having the courage to be yourself. And a lot of the fear, I see a lot of you crying right now. So I just want to tell you, most of the fears that you have about what will happen if you admit who you are something that you made up in your own mind to keep you safe. And if you would just push through those fears and start to lean, you don't have to go full on, but if you would just start to lean in the direction of someone that looks a little bit more like who you think you are on the inside, I think you'd be surprised how much acceptance you would find, that you would find an authentic community of people who are like you, and that if mom and daddy get upset about it, they'll either get over it or they don't need to be in your life for this season. It would be better to be yourself than to live a life trying to please everyone, because guess what? You never will. I'm going to do one more question, and then we're going to sign. Yes, ma'am, you've had it up there. Yeah, you've had it the whole time. You got to project your voice.
My name is Allie. So I'm in a really unique season right now. I own 2 small businesses, and I'm in the process of selling them to an employee. I've always been a big start of the year, what are the goals in all the different categories, come up with my word, do the calendar audit, all the things. I'm definitely a control person, and I like to keep my life organized. And my husband who is here and I, we're very ambitious humans. We want to travel, map all the things out. And it's been a really unique start to the year because this sale is not going, of course, at the pace that I want it to. And it's something in my mind I have decided. It's been about 1.5 years, and actively now it's been 6 months of waiting on somebody else. And so that's been super challenging because, you know, I go to therapy, I tap into all the tools I have, but yet I still find myself just feeling this sense of, like, is it ever gonna happen? I know this next chapter I want to move into a completely different industry, and just kind of give back in a different way. And I feel like I'm straddling 2 worlds, and I'm really having a hard time getting into the next phase, moving forward. And like, how do I find this sweet space and find, you know, gratitude where I am, but also how the heck do I plan my life when I'm kind of in this weird waiting space that's super uncomfortable.
I actually am going to take this in a different angle than I thought I would at the beginning of what you said. Just intuitively, I want to ask you, will you stand on both your feet right now? And put a hand here, your intuition. Is this deal going to go through? You know in your heart that it's going to go through. Okay, so I just want to start there because 6 months of actively doing it, 1 year of waiting, sometimes we will stay in a pattern that we shouldn't be in, and all signs are pointing to hey. So I just want to make sure. Okay, so we'll start there. Waiting is so difficult when you are ambitious. I'm an Enneagram 3. I want to get things done. The interesting thing is you find yourself in a situation that a lot of business owners pray for. It's like, gosh, wouldn't it be so amazing to build up a business that I could then sell to someone, which is awesome. So I think as long as you have real clarity on when this is happening and how it's happening, and it is actively moving forward, then number one is I would shift perspective on you're in the good spot. You're in what you prayed for. You're in what you wanted. But it also might mean that you're in a season of planting, not a season of reaping. This is the time where we're just going to hold space for the things that we have done. We're going to honor those and acknowledge those and celebrate these amazing victories as we very slowly start to dream and think about the future instead of believing that we have to push. So what happens when we're high achievers is it's never enough. You get that goal and you want the next goal and it feels really good, and we become very good at knocking the next thing off our list. And this is actually a really incredible growth season for you to not do those things. Because what you will accidentally do is run on to the next thing, maybe before you've been intentional about what that next thing should be, because you're just so excited to like force it. She's like grinning, like, yeah, because you like want to force this chapter to close so that you can start the new one. And if you accidentally head in the other direction, you're going to have to restart again. So allow yourself to be in this moment of like, I just get to chill for a second. And if you struggle with not being able to chill, that's a really great lesson that your spirit is trying to whisper over you right now, is that, hey, this is something that we need to be leaning into, and it is not easy to do. One of the meanest things a therapist ever said to me was go home and do nothing. And I was like, what? And I had a panic attack. But teaching myself to slow down has been so incredible. I feel like we are more productive, we are more efficient, we are a better mighty team. I'm referencing Jack because it's me and that guy, because we move at a slower pace and we move with more intention. But that was something that I had to learn. It's very different than who I was 10 years ago. So see the season as a gift that you're inside of, and it will pass. That's something I also have to remind myself in seasons that have felt slower. I'm like, you're going to wish for this moment again. You're going to hit you're sprinting again. You're like, oh, remember when I could just go to coffee with my girlfriends at 10 a.m. and take as long as I wanted to and maybe not set the alarm to get up in the morning? Remember those days? This is a very funny example, but I told you my oldest just turned 18. I don't wish back his childhood. I'm not one of those moms who's like, oh, take me back. But if I could do anything again, I wish that I could hold all 4 of my children as newborns on my chest. It makes me emotional just thinking about it. I would kill for that. I'd just kill to have my baby on my chest. And of course, if I could whisper in my ear at 24 years old, I'd be like, just sit here. Just rock a little longer. Just read another story. Just like hold this baby because it will pass and you won't be able to come back to this moment except for in your mind and heart. So if you can just keep reminding every time that voice is like, we gotta go. You'll be like, no, sis, it's okay. Here's the other thing. It's not going to skip you. It's not going to pass you by. You're not going to miss the boat. You don't have to sprint in every season of your life. And in fact, you shouldn't. You need sometimes that you slow down and you move at a different pace so that when it's time to go again, you can. You know, the high achiever new parents will reach out and they're like, Rach, I want to do this and I want to do this. And the baby's 6 weeks old, but I feel like I got it. And I'm like, dude, it's not going to miss you. If you're lucky enough, this life is very long and you have a lot of time to figure out the next step. And if you're not lucky and your life isn't long, you won't know anyway. So just live as if you got all the time in the world and you're not in a race with anybody, but like just trying to get close to that future version of you. And it's okay. And don't listen to anybody in your life that tries to put it on you that you should be moving faster. My instinct is probably the people in your life are like, girl, it's okay. Have a nice tea and calm down. It'll be okay. And trust that you are exactly where you need to be right now. And that you are learning lessons in this process that if you're ever lucky enough to build up a business again and sell it again, maybe you proceed in a whole different way because you've gained the knowledge of this. But you're good. You're good.
The Rachel Hollis podcast is produced by me, Rachel Hollis. It's edited by Andrew Weller and Jack Noble. The New Balance 1080 is the ultimate daily trainer, combining reliable comfort and top-tier performance. I live in my sneakers. I use them to walk around the block, to run around my neighborhood, and to get all the chores done in a day that I need to as a working mom. So whether you're logging miles or running errands, the 1080 seamlessly transitions from the coffee shop to the grocery store, to the podcast studio, or wherever else you've got to get things done. The New Balance 1080 features a cushioned midsole for secure support and comfort, while the totally lightweight, breathable mesh upper keeps your feet cool and fresh on every run. Shop the 1080 at newbalance.com.
Hi, I'm Katie Nolan from the internet and cable TV, or as your mom called me, that sports gal from Celebrity Jeopardy. I have a new podcast called Casuals. It's a podcast for people who like sports a normal amount. No stats or spreadsheets, nary an X or O to be found. Just laid back, casual banter about home runs, hockey fights, and good old-fashioned drama. Casuals is a twice-a-week hang with me and my friends from across comedy, sports, and entertainment, where we talk about all the funny, weird, interesting stuff happening in and around the world of sports. Think of it as all the best things about sports with none of the homework. So whether you're a die-hard fan or vaguely sports curious, Casuals is the podcast for you. You can find Casuals on the SiriusXM app, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to smash that follow button. That way you'll never miss an episode. Just try it. You can always unsmash it.